People are outraged after Ayesha Curry did a recent interview with People magazine in which she said her relationship with husband Steph Curry always comes before being parents. Is this a dangerous obsession or is this wisdom in how to maintain a healthy relationship? We're going to talk about it. Let's get into it. Ayesha and Steph Curry have been married for 13 years and have known each other for over 20 years. Now, if you don't know who these two are, Steph Curry is an amazing NBA superstar who is with the Golden State Warriors. And Ayesha Curry is a model and an entrepreneur. She had a cooking show, her own cookware, and she recently started a skincare business called Sweet July. The couple share four children: Riley, who is 12, Ryan, 9, Cannon, 6, and son Caius, who was born in May of 2024. In her recent interview with People magazine, Ayesha Curry spoke on how her and Steph are able to balance work, their relationship, and raising their four children. Ayesha said that I think for us, our relationship always comes first. Then we're parents. And that works for us because then you have two happy people raising the children in the house. So the family sector in our lives always comes first. Now, people are clashing in the comments. There are both ends of the spectrum. Some are saying that this is toxic, and other people are saying that they agree that you should put your husband first, especially since this is coming from a biblical perspective. Now, one person said that, yeah, this don't mean that the kids will suffer or lack. It just means when they move out, your marriages hasn't suffered or lacked. Another commenter said, yeah, because she's clingy as F. He's fine, but your kids should come first. This is why people don't marry. Priorities are misplaced, and parents aren't teaching their children anymore. They're letting the world do it. Glad to see married folks on here ready to speak the truth. Now, I am married. I've been with my husband. This is year number 12, and we've been married for 4 years. And we have five children together. So I can definitely relate to what she was saying because when me and my husband first got together, we discussed our relationship, having children, and what that would look like. And one of the first things that he made clear was that the children were not to become the center of our world. Like we were still to focus on each other, have time without them. And during that time that we are without our children, like if we were to go on date nights or to go on vacation or whatever, or we're just being alone, that we don't even talk about the children that much. Like we try our hardest not to bring them up, not to talk about, them being parents and just solely focus on each other, talking to each other, getting to know each other. And again, continuing to nurture our own relationship. And so I believe that the ones who are outraged and don't understand where she is coming from, that is because they are either single or they are people who are in dysfunctional relationships or they have seen dysfunctional relationships. In the Black community, especially, women are taught and then they in turn teach their daughters to put their children first. F a man, you don't need a man, you know, and that is true in certain circumstances, such as when the man is not the father, the biological father of the child. That man is not a good man. He himself is unhealthy, toxic, not good for the children or you, a disturbance in the home, or when, you're just randomly dating different people. In those instances, absolutely not. You should be putting that man above your children. That man should and will come second. But when you are in a healthy relationship with a strong man with strong values who is willing to take care of, your children, or if, you share the children together, both of y'all children, you should not leave that man out, because what that can do is build resentment within the man and build resentment within the marriage. Most people either don't know or forget that eventually the children will grow up and leave the home and start to have their own lives. And it'll be just you and your spouse, your husband or your wife. And so you have to nourish your relationship and marriage, especially after children, because the new role and responsibilities can drive you apart. I've heard so many women express that their relationship changed and even crumbled after having a baby for a variety of reasons. Whether that is they got swept up in being a parent and so they didn't have time for each other anymore, or things came up such as realizing that they have different views on parenting, they aren't able to cooperate as a couple, they have different values, the communication is lacking, and they don't have the skills that are necessary to function and continue to strengthen and develop a relationship. Women will center their lives around the baby and adopt them as their companion, leaving out the husband. And the husband can end up resenting the children and wife for being selfish, busy with the children, and no longer having time or energy for them, and things such as, you know, intimacy, having sex, etc. And what you starve, die. Relationships, but especially marriage, because of the confines of marriage, take a lot of work. It takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of compromise, it takes you getting used to a new role, learning how to integrate your life with someone else, but still having your own identity. I think a lot of women get it confused that when you say, oh, you should put your husband or your relationship first, that your children are last, or that you are neglecting your children, and that's not the case, or even that you're neglecting yourself, and that's not the case. It should be a balance. It should be a balance between you developing your identity as a wife, developing your identity as a mother, and you developing your identity as an individual. Because usually, once you become a wife and a mother, you are forever changed. And a lot of us can try to chase who we were before instead of accepting the season that we are in and following that path and rediscovering who we are now. Nurturing a relationship looks like you continuing to date each other, improving your communication, learning team building, teamwork skills, being on the same page, and growing respect for each other. I know we're in this whole feminist era where it's F a man, you don't need a man, and etc. But you do need a man in the home. You need a man in the home for respect, discipline, protection, and provision, not just monetarily, but physically, and the foresight that a man brings to your life, the logic that they bring, the problem solving skills that they bring. And so putting your husband first doesn't mean your children are last or go without or are neglected. You representing a healthy marriage, a healthy dynamic, and a positive role model for your child shows them what they should strive for in their own relationships. And I think that is what Ayesha has learned. She has learned from the mistakes of, probably other family members in her family. She's learned from the mistakes of friends. Her and Steph learned from the mistakes of Steph's parents because they did end up getting divorced after all of their children were grown. And so filling your cup overflows to your children. It doesn't deprive them, or at least it's not supposed to. If it is, then you're not doing it right. When you are filling up your own cup and you are filling up the cup of your relationship, it overflows to your children. And I always say that when you thrive, everyone else around you thrives. And so when you respect your man, he will automatically step up and sacrifice for his family. But when a man feels disrespected, especially if he is a man who values himself, he will not stand for it and he will leave. But it's not just on the woman either. The man also has to be willing to um, put certain sacrifices and to build the relationship and to make sure that it remains healthy and that it's nourished as well. And I believe that that is what Steph Curry is doing because he could have any woman if he wanted to. He could have been, especially being an NBA player, he could have been had a side chick, got someone else pregnant. They are known for cheating and stuff. And for him to not have been exposed or not to have done any of that, to be with his wife for as long as he has been, he also has to value his marriage and to put that above everything else, including his career, because that's definitely going to take up a lot of his time. But he still comes out, he still meets with his wife, kisses her, and greets her first. And I think that that shows a lot about the healthy dynamic that they have. But let me know what y'all think about this in the comments below. Make sure that you like this video and you subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.